Good morning everyone, happy 8th of December. It's a very sunny but extremely windy morning here today, so I did have a nice sunrise to capture. Today I'm going to put up the little pussycat. 8th is going there, and I think the little pussycat can go beside the parsnips. There we go. She's looking quite nice there. Maybe I shouldn't have given her black whiskers though, they look a bit very dark on her. Might have to rethink that. Or maybe it's just her quirky nature. Who knows? Anyway, good morning. Happy Monday to you. And as I look out of the sitting room window, I can see blue skies and the clouds are whizzing across because it is quite a windy day. I had thought maybe I'd be out gardening this morning, but I don't think I will. The Christmas tree's been blown over in the yard. I've stood it up twice and it's down again. So yeah, it's a little bit too windy for outside work. I'll carry on with my tidying up. Plus, I didn't get round to doing the Brussels sprout tutorial yesterday, so I'll probably try and do that this afternoon if I can. It is quite quick. The thing was though that there was a problem on the channel with language translation, which I only knew because somebody sent a message about it and I managed to see that in the comments. And it wasn't something I could fix, it was something from YouTube's end. And so I was on the helpline for ages, but they were very helpful. In the end, they just said, there's nothing we can do. We'll pass you on to technical and you'll get an email and all of that type of thing. However, they must have done it because it seems as if it's back to normal. So hooray for that. The joys and travails of having a YouTube channel. Sometimes there's so much stuff to learn about, all the what I would call the back end stuff. It's just like, sometimes I'm all at sea and sometimes I think, oh, I know that bit. And I think there's probably always stuff that you can learn, and I only learn the bits that I need to know. That's about the top and bottom of that. I'll just have a sip of my tea. And first morning cuppa, it can't be missed. Anyway, I can show you the phenology painting. I don't know how I've fallen into showing this every morning, but there you go. So yesterday was a really nice painting. I quite like that one. I haven't put the time on yet, I've just realised. I didn't put the time on that one because I actually didn't take the picture. It was the one where I just thought I can do a rainy sky and go back to sleep. But yesterday I did take the picture, so I should actually put the time on that one, which was a little bit later because obviously the sun's rising later and later at the moment. So I'll have to remedy that. And I've got some bird facts, and then I've got a poem as well. So then a new entry into the ramblings and musings on the mantelpiece mornings. Anyway, the bird facts are where the birds are going for the winter. Just have another sip of tea first. So cuckoos are the first bird to actually leave the UK after breeding. So obviously we have our resident birds, like most countries we'll have resident birds, and then our visitors that come from further away climes. So cuckoos obviously come to us and they're the first to leave. They can leave as they arrive in April, and then they depart in June as soon as they have laid their eggs in some other bird's nest. They leave their offspring behind. House martins, it says, sometimes roost in unoccupied nests when they're on their way south from their breeding grounds. Some birds will double their body weight before they migrate to give them the energy they need for the long, sometimes non-stop flights to their winter habitats. Swifts make the longest migration of any bird. They travel an average of 14,000 miles, which is 22,530 kilometres. They travel that every year to and from equatorial and southern Africa. And they fly through the airspace of 25 countries. That is pretty amazing. What's even more amazing, it doesn't say that in here, but what's more amazing to me, I think, is that the baby swifts that have hatched that year fly after their parents. So the parents leave, and then the baby swifts who've never made that journey before know how to get where they're going. And that's just phenomenal. They navigate by a combination of the Earth's magnetic field and the stars in the sky, which is pretty amazing. And even more so that the baby swifts that have hatched that year can use all that. They're sort of born with that genetic programming to follow the stars and the magnetic field and follow the insects south, and they manage to find their way to their overwintering grounds, which is phenomenal. More swift facts. Once they've left the nest, young swifts will not land again for almost 2 years, until they themselves are ready to have young. They can essentially switch off half of their brain to allow that side to rest while remaining airborne. I did not know that, and that is a fact to end on, actually, because that is amazing. They can actually rest half of their brain while the other half carries on flying or eating stuff and doing whatever it needs to do to keep the bird airborne all the time. How amazing is that? Imagine if we could just leave off half of our brain and carry on just doing mundane things, and then switch our brain back on when we were doing interesting things. Maybe that's what mine does, actually. It sort of switches off halfway. I don't know, but that's your bird facts for the day. I'm going to leave you with that swift one because that's pretty cool, actually. Anyway, I've got a poem. Somebody asked in the comments about my favourite books or poems. Well, I'll maybe do that in another mantelpiece musing, but I do have a lovely poem to read out to you. I had to check that this was okay to read out, because you can get in trouble for reading out different things, but this one is in the public domain, so I'm okay to read it in its entirety. It's called Winter's Beauty by William Henry Davies, and he was a Welsh poet. I think he had quite an adventurous life, and anyway, I really like this. It paints a lovely picture of a snowy winter. Is it not fine to walk in the spring, when leaves are born and hear the birds sing? And when they lose their singing powers in summer, watch the bees in flowers? Is it not fine, when summer's past, to have the leaves no longer fast, biting my heel where'er I go, or dancing lightly at my toe? Now winter's here, and rivers freeze, as I walk out to see the trees, wherein the pretty squirrels sleep, all standing in the snow so deep. And every twig, however small, is blossomed white and beautiful. Then welcome, winter, with thy power, to make this tree a big white flower, to make this tree a lovely sight, with 50 brown arms draped in white, while thousands of small fingers show in soft white gloves of purest snow. I think that really brings a picture to mind, and I think it's a lovely wintry poem. And those of you who have already got snow, or who live where there's snow a lot of the time, I think probably you'll have your trees draped in white already. And I think it's beautiful when you see the trees all covered in white, especially if the snow's come down overnight and it hasn't been very windy and the snow's piled up on the branches, or we've had a real great hoar frost and the frost standing like little icicles everywhere. I think that's so beautiful. There's beauty in every single season, I think. And then anybody ever asks me what's my favourite season, it's always the one I'm in. That's the top and bottom of it. I look forward to every one that comes, but the one I'm in is always my favourite. My favourite. I can't choose one above any other. I think maybe that's been a short visit today. I think I'm off to do my Brussels sprout. I think I can manage to do that today, and then I'll be catching up on anything else that's going on. I've got some, I think I actually can just do whatever I fancy, which will probably have to be, it'll have to be tidying up still. The sewing room, I can't even dare let you see it. It's just big piles of stuff where I've dragged things out. I do find all my stuff quite inspiring, except when it just tips the balance from everything being out looking quite nicely messy and you can grab stuff, and then it just tips over to the oh my goodness, I can't even walk through the room, why can't I put stuff away type territory. And at the moment it's at that, it's gone over that. It has actually gone over that tipping point, and there is not much room for me in there, and I need to just get a handle on one or two projects. And I wanted to make some new, I've got a new dress to make. Well, obviously not a new dress, but I've got some scrap fabric that I want to make a dress out of, and I've also been given some fabric well, it was in the summer, and I knew straight away I'd make some trousers out of it, but I'm using a pattern that I got online that I've not used before, and I'd quite like to make them too. So I can't even cut anything out at the minute. So that's going to drive me today to get stuff done. And so with that, I'm just going to love you and leave you today with, I think I can't, looking around like I've lost something. I think that is all I need to say, and I can just say thanks for visiting me at Marion's World for my morning mantelpiece musings here in the northeast of England, and hopefully you'll find time to visit me again tomorrow. Bye everyone. Thanks so much for all the comments and all the messages, and eventually I will get round to them. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.